Welcome back everyone to another fun game of old school Magic the Gathering. Today we have an in-person game played with a white-black Mind Twist deck and a red-green aggro Mana Flare deck. Really two totally different styles of old school clashing here today. If you want to skip the deck text and just go right to the match, you can find the timestamp in the description below. And if you have any thoughts on the match or the decks or cards you think that would be better in these decks, leave a comment below underneath the video. Let's take a look at the deck text now. And here is the white-black Mind Twist deck. So this deck really is taking the shell of a mono-black discard deck and adding in a few other colors. So key to discarding, of course, is running Mind Twist, just a devastating card for X and 1 black, and has your opponents discard X. So you could really very easily have your opponent discard their entire hand, and it's made easier by running 4 Hymn to Torox and 4 Hypnotic Specters. Discarding is great to have your opponent discard some land cards early or a key creature card that they need to win, and it works well with the Rack, which does damage to your opponent when they only have a few or no cards in their hand. Balance is a great white card actually as an additional way to get your opponent to discard if you have nothing in hand or a few cards in hand, and you could balance to get your opponent back into rack damage and hopefully win. The creature base is made up of the good old Pump Knight from Fallen Empires, which you have a lot of black mana, so hopefully you'll be able to use this card's abilities a few times. Some Royal Assassins, 1 Black Knight, we mentioned Hypnotic Specters, and I just for fun like to throw in Nightmare. You could probably take them out if you're trying to make the deck slightly more competitive, but again, having that flying creature, another flying threat in the deck, to me it can be quite powerful. And here is the red-green Mana Flare deck. Now, a Candle Flare deck is well known, or one of the archetypes in old school, but this deck really just wants to use Mana Flare, an enchantment that allows all land cards to tap for 2 mana to play out more aggressive and powerful creatures than your opponent, and really just win by overpowering them with creatures such as Force of Nature. Right, all of a sudden this 8/8 with Trampler is a little more viable when you only need 2 forests to pay its upkeep costs. Cards like Stang, which I've always absolutely loved, but it's a struggle to cast them. Stang comes out and is a creature, basically creates a token of itself, so you get 2 Stangs, and if either one of them dies, the other one goes away. But again, a really fun card that you don't see played that much due to the casting cost. And there's a lot of really cool creatures in Legends that become really viable to cast when you have a Mana Flare, like the Deathlock, which is a 2/2 flyer. It taps to give another creature 2/2, and that might be helpful if you want to give a creature 2/2 and then berserk it, or Giant Growth and give it 2/2 and stuff like that. So the point of the deck is just to use Mana Flare and then have fun with some of the other creatures that you normally don't see get played. One card here that I actually had someone recommend to me that I put in the deck that I really like is Howl from Beyond. Again, when you have a bunch of land cards out and you tap them, you could just really power up a creature and boost it with Howl from Beyond. So overall, this deck wants to win by just getting the Mana Flare out, playing its creatures, and aggressively attacking to win. Alright, and here we are. Looks like we have a mulligan to start the game. So on the left is the red-green kind of Mana Flare aggro deck, and on the right is the black discard deck. Call it mono black with friends because it does splash white for removal. And I mean, coming out quick with the Llanowar Elves, the Mana Flare. So you really want to see here now. Oh, and there's Hymn to Torox for 1 swamp with the Mana Flare. Would love to see the aggro deck here, just drop a Shivan Dragon or some other big creature, and Urnum Jin early. Gonna lose its Stang. So one thing with when I was making the deck here on the left, just the thesis of the deck was, okay, if I have Mana Flare out with double mana from my lands, you could get him to Torok a lot. And there goes another Stang. And so the second Stang hits the graveyard, and now you're just top decking, which is kind of what the discard deck wants you to do. But like I was saying, the thesis of the deck was, if you have Mana Flare out, what other creatures are more viable? Stang is, I just always like that. It just makes a token of itself. It makes a copy of itself. There's some other creatures we'll see come up here that are really fun, especially from the Legends set. That, I mean, Legends cards the mana costs are just way too high, but they are playable when you have Mana Flare out. Of course, if you're making a traditional Candelabra Mana Flare deck, you're just gonna run a bunch of Fireballs, Disintegrate, Shivan Dragons, and just use all that mana to win. But I tried to make something a little different. And Underworld Dreams has come out, Maze of Ith has come out. I see a Disrupting Spectre in his hand there, which could be a good play here. When your opponent has no life, you can kind of So I think playing this out here is the right move. When your opponent has no cards in hand, if you have a Hypnotic Spectre out or Disrupting Spectre out, whatever card is top decked here has to be played, or it's gone. It's going to be discarded. So, and top decking a Wheel of Fortune. I mean, probably the best top deck there. Could have hoped for. Just having a Plains and a Paralyze in hand, but when you've got nothing in hand, top decking the Wheel is pretty good, especially with the Mana Flare online. So, okay, we can see the cards on the right. He looks like two Moxes, a Fireball, which could be deadly with the Mana Flare. But we'll see. We'll see what the red-green gets out here. Yeah, I think Mana Flare also makes Force of Nature viable and really fun to play. And there's I believe it's the Deathlock. So it's 4 to cast, 2 green, 2 red. It's a 2/2 flyer, and you could tap it to give another creature 2/2, and and an Ancestral Recall, beautiful. The Deathlock, I like it, especially when you're running Giant Growths and Berserks, because you'll buff another creature with the 2/2 and then Berserk it, so you're getting really juicing the Berserk with it, and flying's always a good ability. So you get an Ancestral Recall, you're drawing, I assume the Orb and the Lotus were just all pulled off that, and then a Demonic Tutor. Why not? So, not really sure in this situation what you tutor for. Maybe a Fireball, because you have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, so you do 9, 10, 11 damage with the Fireball. Maybe you get the Dragon. Little Dreams will go away there. So there was a lot on that turn. That Wheel of Fortune was extremely advantageous. Out comes some jewelry. I think, yeah, so the weird thing is I think he could Fireball for 9 here and win. He may not be thinking that, though. He may be thinking of something else. He's thinking of loading the board with some creatures. I think he may have just realized that he had the fireball there for the win. Looked like a Black Knight. I assume probably want to just put that out. Okay, we're going to get the Black Knight coming out and the Sinkhole hitting a Bayou. Probably would have hit the Volcanic Island to get rid of the blue, so there's no time walks or or who knows, yeah, or any blue spells, but this Bayou takes it, and there's another Bayou, so. Okay, and there was Fireball, some conversation here about the Fireball, so splitting equally, so it looks like a Fireball for 6, divided equally, that's going to do 2, 2, and 2, and just clean the board out. I'm curious if the Fireball was the tutor target, because he could have Fireballed for 2, 4, 6, 8, 9, 10, dropping him to 3, hitting him, and then the Deathlock, well, there was that Maze of Ith. Could have dropped him to 3 there, but taking out all of the creatures instead, down to 12, so 12 to 8. And at this point, I would expect the player to realize he could just Fireball for lethal here. And, you know, when you're playing with Mana Flare, you live or die by Mana Flare. It is obviously a very, very fun card. I love it, but sometimes you could power your opponent's Fireball. And there it is. So Disintegrate was in hand. Another Deathlock. Oof. So pretty good. I mean, this is, yeah, I mean, discard. Personally, I lose a very large amount of games to Mono Black or cards that use the hymns. I mean, they definitely, not unbeatable, but quite strong. And you can definitely make them without power cards if you don't have any. You could just make a Mono Black card, deck that runs hymns and a Mind Twist and Hypnotic Specters and all those classics. Let's go ahead and move to game number 2. Okay, so we got a mulligan again from the discard deck. Didn't matter last time around. And we're seeing potentially the same exact opening, which is pretty good. Getting 3, you know, drop 1 land next turn, earn a Djinn. Oh, I'm seeing a wheel there, seeing him to Torok. Definitely some good cards on the right. Okay, just attacking with a giant elf. That's what it would be. It's a 4/4 giant elf. Not the most exciting move, but you know, for an aggro deck, you get some damage in there, and then it just oof the him. Now I know I usually don't try to complain about too many cards. You know, you can say, oh, this card's overpowered, this card's strong, this is, oh, there goes Mana Flare, and there goes the big guy. But I do think him to Torok, like if there's one card that could be added to a restricted list that you could just run one of, it may be him to Torok. It is the two discarding for 2 black is very, very strong. And during early on, it's great land removal. Just remove the land cards or from your opponent's hand. Okay, that's a regrowth on the giant growth. I mean, that signals to me potentially not much going on in the hand there of the red-green deck, which is unfortunate. Now, in this situation, you probably don't want to wheel if your opponent, you don't really feel like they have a strong start. Could put out Hypnotic Spectre with the 3, or just keep doing him to Torok, and giant growth, which was just regrowthed, and Inferno. Again, Inferno, you know, is expensive casting cost, but with Mana Flare, I've had some fun games. I think my best Inferno use was using it on opponent's upkeep to destroy some Djinns and some big creatures. A lot of people forget that it's an instant, or they just have never used it. Okay, just put out Underworld Dreams. Now, you definitely, once you got hit with 2 hymns, you kind of want to start playing out. You get a little afraid to hold cards in your hand in case another one's coming. But if they do play out like the rack, you do want to hold cards, so it's always tough. Hypnotic Spectre coming out. Not only, what is the 1 card left here? Oh, there it is. Top decking a land card to play Stang. So that's going to be a token there. So the way these work is if one Stang dies, the other one dies as well. It goes with if you kill the token, then the other guy goes to the graveyard. Oh, and he is going to Wheel of Fortune. Oh, right, because he has the Underworld out. So Additions Chant and Spectre. Okay, I guess you do the 7 damage and see what you pull. Always risky against aggro decks, though. Okay, still his turn. Puts out the wheel. I mean the Mox Pearl. Puts out another Swamp. So we've got Dark Ritual. Guessing it's going to be a Ritual Underworld Dreams. It's probably what I would do. No, he's going to do a Fireball. Interesting. Fireball on the Stang, which again, you get rid of 1, you get rid of both. So Stang makes his appearance and quickly goes to the graveyard. And then here comes the discard. Ooh, that's painful. That is painful to lose the tutor. Okay, now he gets bolted. I'd really like to see a big creature come out here. Okay, Chaos Orb. That works, and that's an activation, yeah. And there it is. I've definitely practiced the Chaos Orb flip. And an Ancestor Recall. I mean, listen, red-green's getting some pulls here. Coming in for 2. Again, there's Urnum Djinns in there. There's the Retrieving Dragon. I think there's a Dragon Whelp in the deck. Lots of threats to come out, but we'll see. Okay, so that's 3 tapped. Another Underworld. 3 tapped. A Royal Assassin. Beautiful. And Royal Assassin just slices up creature decks. I'm just going to immediately disintegrate them. And another Stang. Now you could have disintegrated him there. I guess for 7, taking him down for 1, and then getting Royal Assassin. But maybe this is the better long-term move here. Get the Stangs out. You got a lot of damage coming in next turn. Okay, Hypnotic Spectre. Disenchant on the Mox. And that's going to be the turn. Okay. So all coming into attack, he's going to go ahead and just chump the Stang, probably, I guess. Oh, and an Ernie. And that's the game. Okay, game 3. 3 games in a row with a mulligan from the black deck. So, I mean, yeah, sometimes, in that case, the wheel again, when you Wheel of Fortune against an aggro, a red-green aggro deck, that's super risky. Definitely not, don't say don't do it, but gotta be aware. That's a tough one, so we're gonna get the rack out right away. Here. Okay. Turn 1, tutor. And what do you tutor for? I don't know. There's no Ancestral Recall in that deck. Okay, Argonian Pixies. Basically protection from artifacts. Not protection from Mazaveth. Yeah, there you go. Make them tap it, you know? But nothing else. No land drops. That's not good. Okay, Hypnotic Spectre. Great card to put pressure on. I think there's an actual discard there, an end step discard of Gerard. I've won one game in my entire life with Gerard the Closed Fist. Another creature that just doesn't get played, but is fun when you have Mana Flare out. I mean, he's just a beefy guy to get out. But now we're seeing huge mana issues from red-green. And he's going to wheel. Oh, Ancestral Recall in hand. I don't know. Oh boy. There was a lot there. There's the Dragon Whelp, Avoid Fate. I mean, wheeling when your opponent's not doing much is also risky. So we're seeing the discard deck play risky. And then hitting the Chaos Orb with Hypnotic Spectre. That's brutal. Because that would have been flipped on the Hypnotic Spectre this turn. So Curd 8 coming out. He is buffed by the Taigas. Fortunately, that Hypnotic Spectre is going to get through again. And the Stang. Seeing him a lot today. Oh boy, I see a Mind Twist there. Let's see if we get it. That would be devastating. So, yeah. Oh. So if you do a Wheel of Fortune, and then you're able to just Mind Twist your opponent's cards away, then you have a huge... I mean, this is big card advantage now for the discard deck. And the rack is out. And he's going to keep... Yeah, the player's kind of in that, like, discard trap, where they have one card, it's gonna get discarded Hypnotic Spectre, and they're just stuck at no cards in the hand during upkeep for the rack. So this is an extremely bad spot, actually. Ooh, and another rack. And the and the hippie. Oh man. So now you're seeing really this is what the and the Paralyze, what this deck wants to do. Just a total squeeze. You're gonna take tons of damage from the rack and the Underworld every upkeep, and that's it. That was a quick game. So again, the Mana Flare deck, inconsistent for sure, but that Mind Twist was devastating. We'll definitely see more of this discard deck in the future, but fun to see it kind of take a victory here.